This YCS definitely sets the stage for Snake Eye insanity. Make sure you guys smash the crap out of that subscribe button so you guys don't miss out on more awesome content. Before I get the actual question that's going to be stupidly asked here, no, Legacy of Destruction was not legal for this event, or you would have saw way more Tenpai running around here. So I just want to point that out. This is data without this, and the reason why I'm choosing to cover this is for archival purposes, to look back at this event and be able to see how things are going. So, and this also does set the stage for what's to come. So, Snake Eyes. There were 16 in total. Technically, if you want to include the Fire King Snake Eyes variants, you had 19 in the top cut. But to break down those Snake Eyes numbers, you had 11 pure, you had 5 of the Kashtira versions, and then you had 3 Snake Eyes Fire Kings, which are being shown a little bit separately. Technically, the Kashtira builds are just kind of exploring more of the options with, you know, Fenrir, Ray Sloth, and the rest of the squad. So that's kind of important to understand. Now, what's the rest of your top 60 or top 32 here? You had 3 Runic Stun, pretty standard stuff. Only 2 branded. Yeah, branded's supposed to be the craziest Yu-Gi-Oh deck in the entire universe. Yeah, maybe we all thought a little bit crazily about that one. We had 2 Voiceless Voice. You know, once this deck gets its next support card, you know, finally legal, I think you'll see a little bit of something with this. We had 1 Kashtira player manage to challenge the arena. Good stuff to the mid-range control deck. We also had 1 Flu player sneaking in to the top cut as well, which I'm very happy about. Wait, is that a Scareclaw Snake Eyes deck? Ah, crap. That means we had 20 Snake Eyes decks in the room, because that Scareclaw Snake Eye deck offsets everything. Man, we were so close. Yeah, over half of your field is some sort of Snake Eyes variation. We did have the 1 purely player squeak, and I've been pretty crazy talking about how the 1 purely player would be the one to kind of sneak in here and actually do some crazy things. We did have a Labyrinth in here as well, which was, I think, the hero of the weekend, actually. And we also had a Plunder Runic deck. So you did have some decent rogue decks available to you here before you're kind of looking at this top cut and you're like, this is awful. There was some interesting stuff. Top 16. Now, this is where we see the Snake Eyes development over here going sideways with 6 in the variation of the pool. Wow. But I think the hilarious thing about this number is, though, it's 6 Snake Eyes Kashtira with 3 pure Snake Eyes being showcased. So, your number and variations of that are a little bit disheartening to see. Then we had 2 Snake Eyes Fire King. You're telling me out here that you had how many of these decks? You know, 11 of our top cut of top 16 is a Snake Eyes deck. Oh, man. You also had 2 branded. Where'd our Voiceless Voice players go? Looks like the Voiceless Voice players did not make it in here, but you did have Flu, Labyrinth, and even the Plunder Runic player still holding on through your top 16. Wow. Now, oh, well, top 8 is a very vast waste different land here. We shift to 3 Snake Eyes. It's quite interesting. You had the 2 Kashtira Snake Eyes out here holding on for dear meta. And it also appears that our Despia branded player, we had one of them stuck around. I'm actually incredibly happy about that. And then Labyrinth managed to also clutch on, and Fire King Snake Eyes held on. Now, top 4 was 2 Snake Eyes variants, 1 Fire King, and 1 Labyrinth player, making an honest effort out here to kind of stay through this. I mean, Snake Eyes running the course of this top cut is not the strangest thing to me. I am glad to see that the Fire King variant is the one's kind of keeping up with all of this, but it really does tell a story out here. In your grand finals was Labyrinth versus pure Snake Eyes. And unfortunately, due to some miscalculations and backjack, we did not see Labyrinth basically have a free victory right out here, but it was pretty nice to see that Labyrinth could hold its weight all the way into the finals out here, showcasing that there is something to be said about this meta. And with that, I'm definitely impressed. Let's pass on over to deck list. Starting off our YCS challengers out here, we have the ever so amazing Power. That is turbo gas deck. Yeah. Do keep in mind, with Blessing not being legal, you don't technically have the we're gonna say the full combo potential that you would normally have for this deck's ability to kind of set up, pull back its resources. But this is a good testament to what you can do with the deck pre. You do see Nibiru out here having, awesome value in the deck. The double Dynamondo, I'm actually very happy to see Dynamondo still being the go-to crazy card. And you do actually see Earth Golem at Ignister out here, moving in and being the strong super poly target that I think we're about to see this card kind of return to being a little bit of an issue for. And I know a lot of people are going to look at this and they're going to be like, really? We have to go spend $5-6 on the rare? Let this be a lesson to you that you probably do need to get a copy of Earth Golem at Ignister out here if you're planning on playing some sort of super poly variant along the way. The Scareclaw Flamberge deck. Now, this was, I think, one of the most interesting things that I saw out of the weekend here, especially in terms of developments. With Baron being banned, I was like, well, most of the Scareclaw package should be donezo. Should be nobody out here trying this stuff. No, actually, we saw this deck. A few people were trying out some interesting innovations with it. I mean, you're still doing, you're always going to be playing Fenrir. And of course, you do get to play Scareclaw cast here. But the rest of this, is just your standard toggle lines. Interesting to note out here, we are playing a Moonlit Chill in here. So you think Moonlit Chill's value for a majority of this format is going to be kind of interesting. I do find the side deck, though, to be the most interesting thing here, because you do have Riceheart, you have the Ancient Fairy Dragon as well, and then you do have Ray Sloth, and that's right, we have a deck out here that can actually Secret Village lock your opponent. Wow, I really feel like we've come a long way in terms of the meta if we're watching Scareclaw, of all things, be a deck that can roll the Secret Village lock against your opponent. Well, you know what they say, Yu-Gi-Oh! Innovations. Oh, hello, Labyrinth. So, I think the most interesting thing that I've heard about this Labyrinth deck was backjack. And there are no spell cards in this deck at all. You've figured people might give some consideration to things like Pot of Extract, Pot of Prosperity to try to dig for this stuff. No. We're just doing the full furniture pieces. You do see Arias here doing its thing. And also Mr. Bagjack getting you that chance to toggle for those trap cards. Going to be absolutely important. Now, this build did opt for double transaction rollback. I love this. I am happy to see that we're still able to use transaction rollback as a 2-of. You're not trying to bulk down on too much fat for this, which is good. And we are playing 2 copies of Full Force Virus down here. I actually don't underestimate this card. This card is actually pretty strong kind of going forward here. And, we have 2 different dimension grounds. I actually kind of up some of the power for this, and I see that we are citing the Shavara in here as well. So that is actually pretty good. And our last list here is the winning power of double Flamberge Dragon. That's right. We've come back to the point in our lives where we're playing double Flamberge Dragon. And I also want to point out one of the cool tech choices for the meta is back. That's right. We have triple copies of Lullaby of Obedience showing back up and doing its thing. Hey, we lost Baron, but that's fine. You're just going to rev it up and make, Dissipator now. I think this is going to be a very common occurrence, as well as people are going to be focusing on how strong Dissipator actually is. Yes, losing the Baron did hurt, but honestly, I do think that this is actually a pretty good replacement. You're still playing the one anti-spell here. They did make room for Twin Twisters finally, and Cosmics. I don't want to hear anybody out here losing to the randomness that is Runic when you now have associated spots for Cosmics and for Twin Twisters now. Alright, you have the ability to control so many different option ways now. This is actually good to see spell and trap card removal returning back into the course of the game. So that is your breakdown for YCS Irrelevant again. Make sure you guys leave a comment down below, tell me what you guys think, and I'll see your beautiful faces back here later today, guys. Peace out. Patrons, thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.